the state of security in the country, but more so with more developments and alerts just going on across different areas in the country. But we're joined this morning by Mr. Sam Omatseye, who is the chairman editorial board of the Nation newspapers. Thank you for coming this morning.
It's my pleasure.
Well, we're still keeping tabs on this matter, and that's it where we see some more, look at this headline, Boko Haram targets Lagos, Delta, federal government, agencies, military formations, and it just keeps going on. On top of that, this 25 million naira bounty placed on Mohammed Noor image is eventually released by the state security. And from your reading of this entire scenario, where do you see this leading? Are we taking the right steps to ensure that we nip this in the bud, as it were?
Well, it is cheering that we are able to get the video of Noor, if actually that is his picture. That shows that this way have been able to put a face to the madness that is around the country right now. But we still have a lot of information that we don't know about. We need to know who are Noor's people, where has it been, how much do we know about his pedigree. Much of that is not still known. How does the organization work? Where does he operate from? And we need specific information on that. And if they are an itinerary group, we need to be able to track their movements. That is where the security agencies have not been able to work up to expectation. Now, we hear that they might be in Lagos, Delta, and other parts of the country. Now, what is their route to these places? How did they get there? How did they know that they were there? If they got there, how did they get there? We need to get information about all of that, because the issue of security is not just limited to security agencies. It works within what is called civic coercion, where everybody in the society is involved in it. But everybody's society is involved in it based on information. And if they don't have information, they have nothing to work on, and so they cannot help the security thing. This is not a cultist thing. Security is not a cultist thing, especially when it involves everybody. And so having alerts will just scare everybody without having specific information to work on. So it creates a state of terror.
What kind of information do you think the public out there requires to be able to be more security conscious?
One, now that we have his face, the face is just in the newspaper. And some people saw it yesterday and there's it. We need to have it everywhere. You know, wanted, you put it there. We wanted, you put it in various signposts across the country. You put his face there. You describe his voice, his countenance, every information you get about him. Let it be out there. Let the face be as familiar as even the face of the president.
Do we need information like modus operandi, how they operate, where they go to? Does the public need that to be able to?
The public needs that. We need to know how they operate, everything. You know, in tracking Osama bin Laden for several years, the United States continued to put out there every single information that could help track any of their men. Now, why they were doing that? I mean, security works with stealth. The information that you know that is proprietary, that is necessary for you to get him, you let people know. You don't let people know. That's the one you need to get him, because you know that that is proprietary information that he does not need to know, because you have to use deception to get him. But the general information about his movement that could avoid a bomb blast here or a killing there, you know, that information is very important. Unless you know that you have him right under your nose and you're going to get him in the next 1 minute or next 2 minutes, then then you don't let everybody know, then you go there and get it.
Well, I'm quite glad you say that there are some kind of vital information that shouldn't be divulged
Of course,
yes, to the public, but there are some that the public really needs to complement the effort of the security agents.
Exactly.
Now, you know, you talked about the picture. You said that was novel. It was commendable that at least they have a picture. But if they do have a picture, isn't that an indication that they also are working on the ground? As time goes, we'll get to see some of these information that the public would require in order to unravel who this man is, because sometimes the face could change. If he wasn't a bearded man, he could decide to grow beard. So that is why we should talk about his movement, his countenance, and his speech.
Exactly.
But don't you think it's also possible, because initially we never had a picture, it's also possible that the security agents are also working in that regard, that maybe pretty soon we'll be getting all of that.
Yeah, we hope so, but the earlier the better, because the issue of security is very vital to any other thing we do in this country. They have to have all the information that is necessary, and they have to work on it. See, security is a very interactive thing. You need to let people know every time and every moment what they can do for their own protection.
But if we look at some of the information that they seem to be putting out there, it looks as if it's different from what we've seen before. So can we say that that seems to be some sort of improvement? Today we see that the modus operandi, somehow he says from the defense headquarters now that they intend to use federal government number plates to access federal government installations and agencies, and so hurriedly checking those government number plates, they should desist from it. Take your time and do a proper search.
Yes, that's not sufficient. What you need to do to also emphasize, especially in Nigeria, is the issue of efficiency. There are no standards. If you look at checkpoints even across the country, they're almost like a charade. You go to checkpoints, even checkpoints around the Abuja area, you see all kinds of gear, all the soldiers and their guns and all of that. But they're not really checking anything. They're just asking you to go. And then they see a big truck, which is quite obvious, a big truck with goods, which are usually the innocuous ones. You discover that they stop them, and they think that that is where they'll hide it. People like that hide in plain sight. They'll just walk past you, won't know that that's who they are. And so they have to be more subtle about it. I know that, we know too now that a part of the apparent progress we have is because of collaboration with others, because this video did not even come from our people.
Talking about video, Mr. Omatseye, that's a picture, but again, yesterday they talked about another video that was released to Agence France about the suicide bomber that actually went into the UN building, as well as the man who attempted to bomb the police force headquarters. Before the release of that video, there's always been this talk that there's the possibility that these men were not Nigerians. Now, with the release of the video to Agence France, now, are we already where we never thought we'll be? Now we're talking about the case where we look at Afghanistan and some other places, maybe Iraq and some places where terrorists would take over. The modus operandi now, getting to videotape the terrorist or the suicide bomber before his actions, is that a lead to their modus operandi and to where exactly their cells will be? Because it looks so familiar.
It looks so familiar. So was Osama bin Laden's video. They're so familiar. But you discover, look at the background, you could see the background in Sokoto, you could see that kind of background in Kaduna, you could see that kind of background in Lagos. So it looks as if it is tempting, but it doesn't really give away anything. So
it looks like a game plan by the
they're very calculated. They're very calculated.
Okay. No, they're talking.
Sorry, Newton, I was wondering, sometimes when they do all of this, why is it that, good enough, you're a journalist, why is it that now that they decide to do all of that, because sometimes they pick up the phone and they call the House of BBC service, they call Agence France, and they decide to release that video, they had to release it to Agence France. Why is it that they don't get to do that with the journalists or the media in Nigeria? Is it a matter of trust or to generate some kind of international attention?
It's they want to impress the international community that they're working. Remember that they're also working in cahoots with some international agencies like the United States and so on. So they're trying to give the impression that they're working there. And it's part of our own contempt for our own. It's a generic Nigerian malice.